or tactical team.
Hey there guys, this is me, Malorian, and this is going to be an orc tactical team on the top 5 ways with dealing with gunline bullies. We've all seen these guys. I'm one of them. One of these people that likes just taking all the guns and going pew 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 and killing all the stuff. And I mean, in one way it's hard to blame these people because it is so effective, right? You know, why go in there and have to actually move models around and have to do stuff, and you can just go poo, you're dead? Alright. You know, I've lived the Kane 2 dream, I've lived the Sloan dream, I've lived all those dreams, and from looking across the table at seeing my opponent have to just slowly take off their models and their jacks and have nothing to do in return, and more importantly, making the biggest mistakes. You know, it breaks my heart watching these people just get emotionally crushed while this happens to their army, and at the same time, I want to tell them, come on, there's ways you can be defending against this. And so that's what today is going to be, the top 5 ways with dealing with gunline bullies. And the very first one is, of course, the simplest one: have a plan. So many times people see something like, oh, it's a Sloan, or oh, geez, it's going to be this Raven, or Awesome now is the big one for Retribution. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's level 3. Okay, it wasn't one of my things I planned, and now I'm in it. And at that point there, you have probably almost lost, right? If you have gone through, made your 2 lists, gone into the tournament, and now you're setting up against an opponent who's a gunline, and you have no plan, you're probably in a lot of trouble. So make sure before you even get to that point that you realize that Mark III can be a huge gunline game, especially with scenarios like Breakthrough and some of the real powerful shooty casters that are out there. You have to have a plan for them in one way or another, whether it's a denial game or a countermeasures game or anything, whatever it is that we're going to be talking about here later. If you go there and you have one list that's designed to be dealing with gunline, you're in a lot of trouble. So there you go. Before you even get to the table, make sure you cover off number 1. Number 2, people just get too scared, and this just makes things even worse. You know, you see these people where you go up against them with gun lines and they decide to hide back. The guys are huddling cover over here, they're hiding back here, they're making sure to keep their stuff far back, and because they're not actually using their force and they're kind of scared, it's almost like a loss aversion thing, right? They don't want to be going up there and just having all their things shot off, so they kind of just don't play the game. And so some of those things can kind of work if you have a plan with it, but in these cases we're just kind of staying back so that you're going to stay in cover. Well, you're just going to slowly die, and I'm just going to slowly start going for a scenario if you're really not going to commit. So being too scared to do anything in the game and deciding just to hold your things back because you're worried something's going to get shot, deal with it. Deal with the idea that you're up against a gun line and losses will happen, right? The idea that you're going to fight a gun line and lose nothing is just probably not going to happen unless your anti-gun line list is legit, and then at that point you probably have no concerns anyway. But definitely just realize right from the get-go, alright, see these cute little models I'm putting down? A lot of them are going to die, but it's going to be for a good cause, so let's go and just do it. Number 3 is then almost kind of like the opposite, which is just blindly running into guns. You see this thing here where it's almost the opposite, right? You have one case where they're saying, oh, I don't want to commit, I don't want to do anything, and the other one where they're like, alright, full speed ahead, run, everything going forward. And part of that is okay, except for the very first engagement. So luckily, in Mark III, we have this beautiful thing called pre-measuring. And you know exactly what the threat of every single model is. And so if you go and you're starting to measure all of these gun lines ranges, okay, they can advance to here, they can shoot this far, this is the line. This is the line where they're going to start killing stuff. And let's assume that right now, this length of the screen is that range. And you'll see people be like, everything run all the way forward. And they'll go to like this type of point where the gun line says, okay, step back a bit, pew, pew, pew. Thanks for the free kills. Let's keep on going. Where if you would have actually lined up just outside of the range, there is nothing you can do. You're not really holding back because you have the full plan to go forward, but you're saying, all right, here we go, everyone's at the races, but I'm not going to give you a single guy yet because I know this will be a game of attrition, and if I give you even just like 5 free kills right now on this early top of 1 or something, and that's really what we're talking about, right? If you're going first and running up and running into ranges, that's the problem, right? So you just run up just before that range, and then next turn, boom, you're just going to push that as hard as you can and just get right into their teeth. But, I mean, come on, please, don't give them free kills because you're just making it harder on yourself. All right, number 4 is use terrain. Terrain in Mark III has vastly changed, whereas before, we don't want to have a lot of this stuff here inside of these zones, and we want things to be a little bit further away. You usually saw that the middle of the board was kind of like this desolate land, and everything was kind of like around the outside. Hopefully, whenever you go and play now, you're seeing a lot more stuff in the middle. And really, if you're playing on boards over and over again where there's no really effective terrain in the middle of the board, that's really a problem with your organizer, and you probably should have a chat with them saying, hey, you're kind of like handing this to a gunline on a silver platter. Can we make this a little bit more balanced, have a few more hills in there, a couple of trenches, a couple of walls, a couple of buildings you can just hide behind, and then you can use those to your advantage. Now, of course, like I said before, don't fall back to the old I'm too scared and okay, there's a trench here, so I'm just going to come to this point here. Well, no, if you're giving up all that room that you could be covering, it's really not worth taking that cover because it's so far back, it's getting to that giving away free kills thing. Sure, it's harder to hit my guys, but it's really free kills in the end. But if it's a thing where I can run up to here and, on this side there's a hill and then in the center there's nothing, well, please go and get yourself on a hill. Also remember that in Mark III, to get the advantage of being on a hill or the advantage of being in a forest or something like that, or even a trench, although that's the same in Mark II, is you have to be completely in it. So don't make that mistake where you're like running your guys on purpose to terrain. Don't commit all the way inside it and then, all right, you don't get any bonuses and you get shot down. And almost look at the board too, right? When you're picking sides, if you have a choice in the matter, try and pick the one that's going to give you the cover to get your way up there. And during deployment, kind of look at it and say like, okay, these guys are going to move from this position to this position to this position, and where you can, make sure that terrain follows into that plan. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you measuring that stuff out, saying, okay, these guys can run to here, then can run to here. You can even do that stuff before you even pick your sides, right? Just like you can pick to see, or measure to see if things are in your kill box or not, you can measure to see where models can run to on their first turn. There's nothing against that, so use it to your advantage. The last thing I'm going to talk about here is forcing scenario. Gun lines, for the most part, do all their shooting from way back. They want to pretty much go exactly at max range. They're going to go pew, 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 and they want to just stay back so that when you run at them, they're going to have at least one more good turn of shooting before the lines close and all these things happen. Use that to their advantage. If they're pushing way back, that means they're standing off of the actual scenario points. And also look at their army, right? Some armies have it so that almost everything is gun line, and there's a few little things that sneak in there and try and contest. Sometimes they're feral guys, something like that. Make sure you prioritize those models, because if they can run in those little models like a feral geist to contest a scenario, that can give them the time to do more of that pew 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 to move that attrition all the way that you can't really make it happen. You have to get on that scenario, you have to get scoring so that they're almost forced to start committing in unless they want to just lose, right? Sure, you have your great shooting unit back there that love to shoot, but they're going to have to run in to contest, otherwise I'm just going to keep on scoring and I'm going to win this game. So force them to have to deal with those issues. Take away the easy counters like the feral geist, and then all of a sudden their effectiveness is going to go down. I mean, like the long gunners, right? If the long gunners can sit back and aim, they're loving life. If all of a sudden even one of them has to do a run so they can go in there, or their whole unit falls apart, right? They're not doing the big damage that they want to do. So use that to your advantage. So there you go, guys. There's the top 5 ways you can deal with a gunline bully. I know I'm one of them. Please use them against me and other people. If you have any other good tips of how to deal with them, please post it down here in the comments. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye. Hey there, if you liked watching this video, please go down and give it a like down below you here. And if you have any concerns or questions or comments, please put those in the comment section as well. You know, the best way for me to give you what you want to see is if you tell me what you like seeing and what you don't like seeing. So otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.